I have a conversation with Eric Cashacall.
Turn that fucking thing off right now.
Why? What are you gonna do?
Why? Because I know who you are, you know who I am,
Yeah.
and I'm tired of your bullshit.
Oh, tired of my bullshit.
Yes.
What exactly is my bullshit?
I don't want to be on the internet.
Well, I don't give a shit. You slandered me in a fucking record with Scott Carpenter and SESO 2020003177. Slander?
Who's that?
It's a record from Saratoga County Sheriff's Office. You contacted James Leonard, right?
All right. Just get out.
You reported an incident that occurred on May 24th and passed off surveillance footage as being on the 25th, right? So, do you want to have a conversation? I can turn this off. We can have a conversation. We can resolve the fucking issues.
You know what? Get out of my way so I can leave this parking spot.
You live on Anchor Drive, right? Right next to Doug Dagley's grandmother?
You know, I'm not answering.
Or you used to.
I am not answering any questions.
Okay, you're part of the town of Half Moon Town Board, right?
Yes.
With Kevin Tollison?
Yes.
Do you remember the conversation that we had on May 24, 2020?
I have no conversations with you. I want you out of my way so I can leave this parking lot.
So notice how Eric Cashacall said, I've had no conversations with you, but, you know, I referenced the ticket number right here, SESO 2020003177, which the senior officer on that was James Leonard, and the reporting officer was Scott Carpenter. And he's like, who's that? Oh, well, it's the guy that you reported on the 27th of May, 2020, this following statement. You know, upon arrival, I was met by Eric Cashacall. Eric stated that he responded to his funeral home on 5/24 at about 8 o'clock because an alarm was set off. While inside the building, Eric heard a knock on the door. There was a male not known to Eric wearing tan pants and a blue and white checkered shirt. The man, who was later identified as Michael Cook, told Eric that he needs to stop taking his computers to computer answers to have work done. Michael told Eric that they put stuff on his computer so that they can track everything he does. Eric told Michael that he does not use them anymore and asked him to leave. I think what I said was that Dwayne Coonrad was using hacks to be able to bypass like having to pay for software. And that's what I told him. And I also talked to him about Bruce Tansky, but that wasn't mentioned on this entire thing. Maybe it's underneath all that whiteout right there, but I don't know. It said basically Eric is requesting periodic checks of the Cashacall Funeral Home located at 1597 Route 9 in the town of Clifton Park. And check it out. So it was, the report day was 5/27 at about 14:14 p.m. But the incident occurred on Sunday at about 8 o'clock when we had the conversation. However, check out all these pictures that I took. So this is why I say that some of the cops at the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office are really lazy. I have a whole bunch of these pictures here, right? It's from May 19th, 2020. It's got my GPS coordinates in each of these pictures. As I change the picture, the GPS coordinates change. There's GPS coordinates inside of the HEIC files. Look at this. Oh, that's Snyder's Restaurant back on May 19th, 2020, right? So I'll close that. Right, and what I was making us think about was how Verizon was sort of running their network through the town of Clifton Park, but they weren't offering their fiber optic internet to residences. But further to that point, that's the last one from May 19th. That one's from May 21st. And I took that picture right before I recorded the sound of the bird or whatever. The sound of the bird was coming from right back here. I'm not going to talk about the bird. But anyway, when I was walking down 146, I saw a guy with a red flashing light thing. But I kind of want to talk about the stuff at the tail end of all these pictures here. These pictures I took with my Apple iPhone 8 Plus, right? So Eric Cashacall is a member of the town board, right? And The report that I just read is after I took this picture here, right? So that's Rolling Smoke Barbecue now, but it was this Half Moon Sandwich and Sub Shop back then, right? And like, what's down the road here? Oh, the Eric Catricala Funeral Home. The Catricala Funeral Home, I should say. But like, what's that? It says 7:23 p.m. and that one says 7:10 p.m. And we had a conversation between 7:10 p.m. and 7:23 p.m. But Eric Catricala seems to have no recollection of that. Huh? That's weird. You want to know what's also weird? Is the fact that like that right here is called an infraction. Here, hold on. So like, if someone's driving down the highway and a police officer sees someone speeding, they can pull someone over for that. But for whatever reason, Verizon can sort of leave these splitters all over the ground, all over the place, right? They're giving service to somebody that's here. I don't think it's going to this place, but yeah, there's a splitter right there going up Route 9. And the reason why I'm making a stink about it is because I used to be the manager at Computer Answers, and I wanted to get the Verizon Fios service at the store. And then they never offered it. And then they had the class action lawsuit at or about the time that I took these pictures, right? Right. So like I was talking about like Bell Atlantic sort of having like a monopoly. Bell Atlantic and Verizon are the same goddamn company. You know, Bell Atlantic changed its name to Verizon Communications. I'm not sure if a lot of people know that, right? So, a lot of the pictures that I took in this whole reel, they were being intercepted by some man in the middle. So when I would upload my pictures to the Google Drive account, like some of my pictures mysteriously wouldn't make it to my Google Drive account. But, you know, I don't want to talk about like all this stuff, all these pictures that I took. But, you know, these pictures right here are of the Half Moon Town Hall. And as you can see, there's some sort of like artifacting that's happening on my phone. You don't see that in really any of the other pictures until I get to like the town of Half Moon Town Hall there. You're not seeing like a light like scattering around making weird artifacts or anything in any of these pictures, right? No, I walked around the entire town of Clifton Park taking all these pictures like that whole entire week, right? And so then when I get to like this place here, oh wow, look at this. There's like a ghost car in this picture. I just want to make a real quick note that here's one car, here's another car, here's another car, here's another car, and then there's a car pulling out, right? But check it out. I go to the next picture right here. Oh, that car that was pulling out is gone. Oh, that's weird. Huh. It's almost like there's a ghost car right there. You know, the artifacting right there, it clearly shows that there's a vehicle that says sheriff there. It clearly shows a vehicle, well, maybe not clearly. It clearly shows a vehicle there. It clearly shows a vehicle there. It clearly shows a vehicle there. And it clearly shows a vehicle there. But then, like, oh, I skipped to the next one, and there's no vehicle here. Oh, somebody, like, censored my pictures. Somebody censored my pictures because I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there's paranormal activity going on in like some of these pictures. And further to that point, they were censoring these pictures from making it to my Google Drive account. Let's say that I'm wrong and there's no paranormal activity going on whatsoever. I'm just going to continue scrolling past all that, right? So the GPS coordinates are in basically all of these pictures that I'm taking because they're HEIC file format, right? And then like I get down here, and I have like, these are all the same. I have videos of all these. Right here, right? I have a video of this where it's at a stagnant 0. And where was this taken? Hold on. 616 HEIC. Oh, it's the cell phone tower that's like getting free power. Right? And I like posted this on my social media like 3 years ago, but nobody ever did anything about it. Right. So anyway, side point. There's two anomalies that I detected, right? And then also, like this right here is the the Park Manor Hotel, right? 10:46 p.m. May 25th, 2020. And then like I recorded an audio recording between like there and Computer Answers. So here's the network at Computer Answers, the one that I configured back in May of 2018, right? CP Computer Answers. And then you can see Catch a Call FH Guest right there. And you see me connected to CP Computer Answers. You see me connected to the Fast CP Computer Answers. These things are called evidence, and I told Scott Schelling about them in SCSO 2020-028-501. But I think like some of the cops are morons, right? So like here's my alibi, right? The ticket that I just showed, right, is Eric Catricala trying to get like the events of May 24th and around 8 or 7:10, between 7:10 and 7:23 is when I talked to him. So it was a little bit before 8 o'clock. I'm not going to fault him for saying that it's 8 o'clock. But, you know, he's like, is requesting periodic area checks of the Catricala Funeral Home located at 1597 Route 9 in the town of Clifton Park. Why would he want periodic checks of his area on May 27th? Oh, it's because like the two dickheads in these pictures right here, they were trying to kill me. And I told Scott Schelling about that, but I think that some of the cops that work at the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office, they're morons. So that is the 911 call that I made on May 19th on Sidderley Road when Anthony Agresta showed up at 30 Sidderley Road near Park Ridge. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. Pine Ridge 2. And then these are the two 911 calls that I made. The second one being at Center for Security, right? Center for Security, which can be seen in this picture right here that I took on the 24th, right? There is a camera right there, and that is exactly where I held my phone when I dialed 911 when these two dipshits were following me, trying to like attack me on foot, right? So like these pictures, they're all my alibi. And they proved that like nothing happened on like the event on May 24th was a conversation between me and Eric Catricala. And the reason why he requested periodic checks of his property is because they were trying to pin me with some sort of crime or something happening at or about that time, right? I have all these pictures here. I have an audio recording of Captain Jeffrey Brown, which I'm going to feature shortly. So, that said,
move it.
What's your name? I know who you are, DJ Coon.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. You got. You used to be the DARE officer.
The owner wants you out of here.
The owner. Okay. Well, did you know that Bruce Tansky was investigated by the FBI, and I told him about that on May 24th, 2020?
Sir?
No, I know. It's
Sir, look at me. I'm the manager of this place. You're disrupting my business. I need you to leave.
Okay.
You can do this anywhere else you want.
What's your name?
I don't care. My name's none of your business.
Oh, it is?
Right
because
now.
I've been how long have you owned this business?
I'm not owning it. I'm managing it.
Oh, well, he told me that you're the owner, though.
Well, yes, the owner does want you gone because the owner told me if you came
Just
here
now?
to ask you to leave.
No, his name Bruce Tansky.
His name is Bruce Tansky, yes.
Yeah, well, I
but
thought
it
he
does
sold
not
it.
concern me.
Well, Bruce Tansky is a criminal.
You can think of what you want. That's your opinion.
Well, he was
Has
investigated by the
convicted?
FBI.
Has he been convicted?
Oh, yeah, yes. Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library Appeal, September 20th, 2023. Introduction. My name is Michael Cook. I've been a resident of the town of Half Moon since 1987 and am an alumni of the Shenandoah Central School District. I started Secure Digits Plus LLC in October 2018 to focus on application development, virtualization, network and hardware administration, and graphic design. I didn't expect that I would have to take on other roles such as researcher, developer, journalist, and investigator. Some may say, you're not an investigator. Yeah, I am. I know how to submit FOIA requests and review the handiwork of police officers, and their work is often very shoddy, careless, and mistake-prone. I've contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation multiple times. I've contacted the National Security Agency multiple times. I've contacted the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office multiple times. I've contacted the New York State Police multiple times. This is an audio recording of me interrogating Investigator Jeffrey Brown from the Saratoga County Head Sheriff's Office back on February 2nd, 2021. you don't even have a way to look through your own records to find a record that should exist? If you know,
wasn't a case report written. Otherwise, I would be able to find it.
but no, Sergeant Welch told me that there was a call for service, so there should be a record of that. And the record that Sergeant Welch gave me is for a totally different date, and that date is May 23rd, when Scott Schelling originally responded to the incident at Stratton. It's not related to the 3 sheriffs that were involved at the Zappone dealership, or at least in front of it, on Route 9 on May 26th at approximately 1 a.m. There should be a record of that, and I should be able to contact the records department and be able to find that interaction that may not have my name on it. There is a record of that interaction because Sergeant Welch told me that it exists. So,
Did you write the number down? Because if you had the number, I can look it up.
what I'm telling you is that the number that he gave me was for the wrong incident. So he doesn't know what it is.
Find it either.
So, like, is that how your records department operates? Some things get logged and some things don't. So, like, when someone calls,
Every interaction, no. Again, we handle 100,000 complaints a year.
there should be a call for service. That's what Sergeant Welch told me.
Case reports. There should be, yeah. But without your name associated with it, did you dispatchers your name when you called?
What I find perplexing about this is that I can tell you that this record should exist, and you're going to tell me that the police officer went to that place to check the surveillance footage, but there's no record of that. That's what you're telling me.
No, the one that I read you, which is from 524. Well, 524 was the funeral home. Okay, let's see. That was not the one. Let me find the one where he checked the video. I got to find the right one. Again, I have 8 of them open.
Right.
This was on 527. And it happened at, we got the call around 12 o'clock. It happened around 10 o'clock, it looks like there.
Talking about 2003173? Is that what you're talking about?
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's not Center for Security. Totally different address, bud.
Okay, well, again, it's kind of hard to, you seem to think there's some wide-ranging conspiracy involving my department.
Well, no, it's not a wide-ranging conspiracy. I should be able to ask somebody at your records department or you for the record that should exist for a call for service where 3 Saratoga County Sheriff officers were in front of the Zappone dealership on May 26th at approximately 1 a.m. And all I'm getting so far from you is a heck of a lot of redirection and we have too much to do and this, that, and the other thing and making up excuses. You're telling me that... What you're telling me is that the Saratoga, that officer, Scott Schelling, went to that place after I told him on May 26th that there should be surveillance footage of me initializing a call to 911 services. What you're telling me is that they went to that place and already checked that surveillance footage and it didn't exist. But you're telling me that it was the wrong address that they did that.
Well, you're in an awful lot of them.
Well, yeah, no, I'm in a lot of them because of this one incident that, like, nobody can give me clear instructions or directions or... I'm asking you specific questions related to this ticket that should exist, and you're not able to answer it. You're redirecting.
Not redirecting. I can't find what you're looking for. Here's what I did.
So...
Hold up, May 26th, hold on. May
Okay.
26th, 2020. You said about 1 a.m., right?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to put in 12:45 a.m. until 1:30. All right, I'm back. So let me look at this last one here.
Okay.
Oh, this is a male out in front of Zappone's.
That's it.
White male, blue flannel shirt, brown hair, jumped in front of the caller's vehicle as they passed the location. They're alleging you jumped in front of their car.
What is that ticket number?
Is 2020-028 501. 1:28 in the morning. You were not the caller. It looks like they were the caller because you jumped in front of their car.
Right. So, for a period of about, you said that was at 1:28?
Looks like the call was received at 1:28 in the morning.
Okay. So, I have a screenshot that says that I originally tried to call 911 at 12:05. Now,
Yeah.
I can prove that.
I didn't search back that far. I can search back that far.
Well, hold on. No, I'm just trying to give you a trajectory of what happened that night. That way, if you are able to help me, maybe with your experience, you'll be able to identify how you can do that.
Call 911. There's nothing I can do.
That's a problem. I called 911 twice. My phone was hacked. I recorded a video of two dudes stalking me. But also, if I suspect that the telecommunications companies are committing illegal activities, then they can disrupt any 911 call from making it to your dispatch station. And therefore, they have strict control over the law enforcement system. Well, what I'm trying to say here is that I'm giving you my recollection of that night. The attack began on May 25th and went into May 26th because it occurred at approximately 11:30. I uploaded some files from the Clifton Park Computer Answers network because I used to manage it. After I uploaded those files, a couple of kids wearing glasses, both wearing hats, approximately 6 feet tall. They were walking on opposite sides of the street, by the way, but it was rather late, so it seemed strange that anybody was out walking at all. Now, I had a short conversation with one of these kids, and I said, "Hey, you from around here?" And he said, "No, I am from around here, but I moved away and then I moved back." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he walks on, and as he's walking on, I typed something into my cell phone screen, and whatever I typed into my cell phone screen caused this kid to stop dead in his tracks. When he looked at his cell phone, several feet away, about I don't know, 50 feet away, maybe 100 feet. Now, it could be coincidental. Maybe he was just happened to look at his phone at a certain time, and then he just stopped dead in his tracks and looked like he saw bad news. That's my impression was. At any rate, a couple other things happened. There was a kid at the laundromat that night. Pretty sure that place has surveillance footage, but there was a kid in a black Dodge at that gas station that was leaving.
Have mouse footage 6 months ago. I don't know a single business that keeps their footage.
I'm sure they don't, but these are things that I had been attempting to inform somebody in your department.
And the only crime I'm seeing here is disorderly conduct for obstructing a public roadway committed by you.
Because I called 911 and those calls weren't making it to the dispatch station. So I was trying to get help somehow, which led to me, cutting this phone line to this house that I suspect.
Not going to answer me. I'm going to hang up the phone.
Okay.
What would you like me to do about a 911 call that never made it to my dispatchers?
Well, I'm not trying to have anything done about the 911 call, but what I am trying to do.
There's nothing I can do about that.
But you're saying that.
It happens all the time just because of bad cell coverage.
Right.
You ever been in the northern part of the county here? Cell coverage is terrible.
It shouldn't happen here in Clifton Park where there's 3 cell towers within a mile.
There are, but again, if there's a problem with Verizon or Sprint or AT&T's tower, what could I potentially even if you want to reach for the stars, what could I possibly do about that? Can I climb up there and check, make sure all the wires are plugged in?
No. What I'm suggesting is that you're saying that someone checked the surveillance footage, right, at the place that I left the footage of me trying to dial 911. You're saying that exists, but you're getting reports mixed up.
I'm saying he looked at it. I didn't say he downloaded it and uploaded it to our system. I'm saying he viewed it.
Right. But he didn't look at the surveillance footage at Center for Security.
Right. Not as far as I can tell.
Right, but that's where the footage would be of me initializing it.
I closed those 8 tabs to open these 6 new ones. I thought that was the center. No, that she looked at was the one where you went into the business and were pestering the guy trying to look at his surveillance footage. And I think he chased you down the road is what it sounded like to me. That is the case that the deputy said he viewed the footage, saw you wandering around the business, looking in a garage with a flashlight, and holding something in your hand, unable to tell from the quality of the video whether it was even a cell phone or not.
Okay.
Well, it was obviously, but most people have in their hands situations like that. But the quality of the video was not good enough to tell.
So something drew me to that area, and they can see the surveillance footage of me walking around that night, but they can't see the surveillance footage is not from the 24th. That's the problem, is that I didn't walk around Eric Ketchkala's business on the 24th. I walked around Eric Ketchkala's business on the late 25th into the 26th, and it's being passed off as security footage that was on the 24th. That's what's happening here. The backstory of that particular recording is that two dudes were using a dangerous program called Phantom/Pegasus on my Apple iPhone 8 Plus to locate me using my device's radio and GPS telemetry, and they attempted to run me over with their vehicle multiple times when using this dangerous fucking program on May 25th, 2020 and May 26th, 2020, leading into SESO 2020-028-501. And I obtained that record from that audio recording and the conversation between me and Jeff Brown. Here are 3 pictures of these two douchebags. IMG 0649, IMG 0650, IMG 0651. Pardon my language, the police have been pretty obtuse about taking me seriously. I think it is because some of them are fucking stupid. Let me repeat, some of them are basically retarded. It is the only explanation that makes any sense to me, extremely slow on the uptake. The first incident where they attempted to strike me with their vehicle was May 25th, 2020 at about 11:15 in front of the Spare Time bowling alley. I then took a number of pictures of the computer answers network that I was connected to, uploaded 3 audio recordings to my Google Drive account, and then I went across the street to the Catricala funeral home and took roughly 8 to 9 pictures with my Apple iPhone 8 Plus smartphone. I then ran into this one douchebag on foot in front of the Boomer McLeod Plaza and recorded him in a video that I was unable to exfiltrate from my device because someone was applying interference to it and preventing me from doing so. I actually have a video of this actually happening back on May 24th, 2020, me connecting my iPhone 8 Plus to my laptop and trying to exfiltrate the files, but an error kept popping up, and there were multiple different types of errors that popped up. Has my phone hacked. Let me go ahead and try to copy all that. Trying to do this back in March of last year. I'll have to transfer everything and just record it, all of it, which is what I had to do last time, and they couldn't stop me from doing that. So if they have to make me do it again, then guess what? It's going to happen.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why my device is compromised, and so is my phone.
Get back at it. Go next door and play with talk to the neighbors. You doing something with the computer?
Yeah, I have it disconnected. Hacking me right now. I'm trying to take evidence off of my phone and share it with people, and they're preventing me from doing that.
Alright.
So to go back in here, I have to remove the phone.
How was it? No. So unplug that, plug it back in. So this is how hard they're making it for me. So I don't know if you can see the content of the screen now, but they just blocked it out. And now the encoding isn't overloaded.
Anyway, then the number 2 douchebag was walking to the laundromat, and I also recorded him in the same video. Then the one dude left in his black Dodge Dart or Charger that looked identical to the ones that the investigators at the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office drive around. Then the number 2 dude started chasing me. I attempted to contact 911 emergency services the first time at May 26, 2020 at 12:04 a.m. Near the Half Moon Sandwich and Sub Shop or the Clifton Park Eye Care Shop place. I then attempted to contact 911 emergency services for the second time at 5/26, 2020 at 12:10 a.m. in front of Center for Security's surveillance camera. I then took the 3 pictures shown up above. The second incident where they attempted to strike me with their vehicle was May 26, 2020 at 12:45 at Route 146 and Route 9, or about 12:45. As they were exiting the Lowe's Home Improvement parking lot, and they turned right onto US 9, heading toward 1769 US 9, where Zachary Carroll used to live. At about 1:20 a.m. on May 26, 2020, I caught the phone line and Zachary Carroll's kayak strap because I had a feeling that whoever lived there, Zachary Carroll was unknown to me at the time, was involved in me being followed. I was actually attempting to flag people down for help that whole time to get assistance from 911. Against the reporting in the above listed call for service, SCSO 2020-028-501, Scott Schelling was the first officer on scene, not Sergeant Joshua Welch. This is a common theme in nearly every record in the records request that I requested from the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office on September 4, 2020. There are details that are relevant and critical that aren't being documented correctly or at all. In the conversation that I have with investigator Jeffrey Brown, he seems rather oblivious that a dangerous software application was deployed to my device, whereby preventing my 911 calls from making it to the dispatch station. However, I still have other evidence, such as the numerous HEIC files and pictures that have details embedded into the files that constitutes as an alibi, such as GPS location, longitude and latitude, and the time the picture was taken. It is pretty stupid to argue with audio and HEIC files that I uploaded to my Google Drive account, but my God, some of them will fucking argue with these pesky details that are in the file's metadata. Metadata is information that could be outside of a file about the file. So if I call someone a stupid cocksucker in an audio recording, that won't be in the metadata, but the length and duration would be. Anyway, these pesky details are actually vital clues that the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office as well as the New York State Police have blatantly overlooked. It can even be heard in the audio recording above where investigator Jeffrey Brown starts stammering when I tell him that the officer in question, Scott Schelling, checked the surveillance footage to corroborate my story at the wrong fucking place. Oh wait, no, that was Scott Carpenter that responded to a different incident that occurred on May 24, 2020, after it was called in 3 days late by Town of Half Moon Council member Eric Caccicola on May 27, 2020. So the event that occurred on May 24, 2020 at about 7:10 p.m. was separate from the event at on May 25th, 2020 at 11:45 p.m. But Eric Caccicola felt that Scott Carpenter and James Leonard would have superhuman powers to merge them on May 27, 2020 at about 12:12 p.m. in the record SCSO 2020-003-177. And that is the record that Captain Jeffrey Brown talks to me about, and it sounds fucking stupid, right? I didn't screw up their logic, nor the sentence structure when writing those statements. That is perfectly sound logic that investigator Jeffrey Brown has in that aforementioned audio recording. I really don't know how else to explain it except like this. Perhaps the way they see it is that if something they do is really fucking blatant and stupid looking, they just assume that other people will make the assumption. Sounds hard to believe. Yeah, well, Eric Kachikala, a funeral home owner, calls in on May 27, 2020 about a conversation that he and I had on May 24, 2020 about Dwayne Coonrad and Bruce Tansky. And then he attempted to have James Leonard and Scott Carpenter get the events that occurred 30 hours apart stapled into the same exact incident without looking at the numerous HEIC files that I uploaded, which provide my alibi for the 2 tickets that this dipshit James Leonard handled on May 27, 2020. That's why I say I'm an investigator, on top of all the other shit that I specified thus far. Side point. I just wanted this to be a strong introduction. While I have many other exhibits, I want to talk about pertinent details related to the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library. In this document, I'm going to use the same format that I've used in other documents I've written, except I will use color to make the document really stand out like a friggin' ninja. I'd like to unpack and examine the details surrounding Director Alexander Gutelius and the IT Director Unknown Battlegrounds' decision to ban me from the library for a second time in response to the document I received from the security guard Kevin on September 17, 2023. Sunday, September 17, 2023. Motivations. The first ban on October 15, 2022 was resulted to me opening up the HP Elite Desk 800 slim-line form factor desktop computers in the computer lab for a video recorded intellectual property theft. Yeah, you too, man. Take care. Something wicked shady. The document that I wrote. Uh-oh. Hang on. Uh-oh. 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 Oh boy. Oh boy. What do I talk about in this document? See how that computer has that hard drive in it. And then those computers over there, they have that hard drive in it. So this document right here, somebody read it. And they said to themselves, let's take Michael Cook's idea and install solid state drives in basically every system in the computer lab. Oh. Let's check them all. Oh, there's one. Uh-oh. 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 back up. This one back up. So what I'm indicating here is intellectual property theft. Someone liked my idea so much that Alexandra Gutierrez called the Saratoga County Sheriff's on me, and I spoke with Clayton Brownell. Oh, somebody liked my document so much that they went ahead and like did all this work without giving me any credit for it. It's sort of like what happened over at Computer Answers. I wonder if that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that it's okay if people make money or save money off of my ideas and then they don't give me credit, and then I get a sense of like notoriety or whatever, right? Well, I don't blame them if they wanted to like just save money on, installing upgrades and stuff. But why did they upgrade after I wrote the document? Not before I wrote the document. Afterward. So like, cause I wrote a document. I talked about installing solid state drives in all the computers in the building. Effect: somebody committed intellectual property theft or just took my idea and didn't want to like pay me or give me a job offer or anything like that. No. So what's happening is someone is taking me seriously and they're just being really lame about it. Oh boy. I'm not going to go to all these computers. The reason I recorded that video is because the IT director technician had installed SSDs into all of them at my suggestion in this document that I printed and sent to Alexander Gutelius in hopes that perhaps the people at the library might want to know why I was going to the library as often as I was. I was less than formal in that document, but the document starts out by discussing things like espionage tools in Vault 7 developed by the Central Intelligence Agency, such as Weeping Angel. Weeping Angel was reverse engineered and used by hackers and nation-state actors to target people's smart TVs in order to commit identity theft and cybercriminal activities. I was interviewed by Andrew Banis on the WTN alert desk in March of 2018 to talk about hackers targeting smart TVs when I managed Computer Answers at 1602 US 9, Clifton Park, New York, 12065 for over 3 years.
Could smart TVs be putting your personal information at risk? And News 10's Andrew Banis joining us live from the alert desk with the answer. Andrew.
Yeah, John, imagine it. You're sitting at home with your family watching a movie on Netflix while you guys are enjoying the time together. A hacker is secretly breaking into your online accounts, stealing your information. It's all around us every day. Technology can be many things. Helpful.
It's good and useful in many ways.
Or overwhelming.
It's crazy. That's really about all I could say, crazy.
For some, it's downright intimidating. Very scary. But one thing we can all agree on,
It's everywhere. Is you just can't get away from it.
meet Michael Cook. He's the manager at the Computer Answers store in Clifton Park. He's seen it all, but lately there's a new problem, and it's a serious one. Online hackers not using your computer to access your information, but instead using your smart TV.
We get a lot of people that come in here that, for lack of a better term, have gotten mauled by someone online.
And it's not just televisions that have online apps already built in, but even streaming devices like Fire Sticks can put your personal info at risk. The worst part is many don't realize they are vulnerable until it's too late.
There's scam artists and hackers all around the world that are just rejoicing at this.
So what are some tips? Well, Cook suggests using only secure and protected Wi-Fi connections, ones that require passwords. Also, stay up to date on security upgrades. Those are updated frequently to stay ahead of the bad guys who want your money. It's advice Robert Jordan plans to follow when it comes to his technology.
You could be happy-go-lucky one day, and next day you could be completely wiped out.
And another tip, disconnect your smart TV from the internet when it's not in use. That gives hackers less opportunities to access your information. Reporting from the Alert Desk, Andrew Banis, News 10, ABC.
The document also discusses hardware and network administration, security, virtualization, and various observations I've made about the human condition and psychology in general. Though the editing and verbiage isn't as formal as I typically am, as I was sharing my personal story like I am now. I have a condition that lies somewhere in the autism spectrum that causes me to be very straightforward and unnervingly honest with people. It causes me to be extremely observant of other people's behaviors, and it also causes me to lack the ability to sugarcoat things in order to not hurt someone's pride, ego, or feelings. This causes me great difficulty in being able to relate to people who have to use this bullshit strategy every time they open their mouth in public in front of other people. I could be exaggerating that to some extent. In other words, when I observe morons doing dumb shit in rapid succession, it causes me to lose trust in their appearance and to use my First Amendment constitutional right to label them as morons. I don't go around walking up to people and shout in their face, "You're a moron." It is a process that takes some time as I consider each additional appearance that someone makes and make mental notes and tally marks depending on how many times I observe someone putting their foot in their mouth or otherwise acting like a dumbass who thinks that I'm the one that's being stupid, when in reality it's just them and that's it. Many or some of the police I have encountered are experts at this process, but it also applies to some other people, such as doctors, lawyers, judges, some of my family members, some of my friends, and etc. That's why I record so many videos and audio recordings, because without them, anyone can just say whatever they feel like, especially if it is inaccurate, misleading, false, erroneous, malicious, or otherwise clandestine or moronic, or some variation or combination of any or all of those things in conjunction. That was some of my rhetoric in the document listed above. Now, what does that have to do with the first ban or even the second ban from the library? Well, examining why I'd write a document or use the language that I did is pretty important to question, and people tend to make a lot of assumptions and base their decision-making processes on social hierarchy rather than basing them on things like facts, evidence, video and audio recordings, reports, and documents. If people were to question the things I write and talk to me about their concerns, then there would be an opportunity to explain myself in person. Since people typically don't do that, I record audio recordings and in some cases videos of myself performing oration, not unlike late comedian George Carlin. George Carlin was a famous comedian who was highly skilled at writing, oration, and philosophy, and was rather poetic in how he came across to other people. One of his most famous quotes goes, "Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups." They're words to live by.
It's all bullshit, folks. It's all bullshit and it's bad for you.
Conversations. Failing to have a conversation with somebody about an uncomfortable subject is understandable, but at some point the lack of comfortability has to be met with realistic expectations. So, if I avoid having an uncomfortable conversation with somebody about my life story and instead write a document about it and send it to the director of the library, she may take it out of context and assume that the document is a manifesto or a declaration of intent. But does that give her and her staff the right to take my suggestion to install solid-state hard drives into all of the computers in the computer lab and not give me a single shred of credit for that idea? Well, in their minds, yes, it does, or it did, and it's pretty easy for me to prove that that is exactly what they did. So if I make the video critiquing the IT director or staff for going right ahead and installing the solid-state hard drives less than 2 weeks after sending that document to the director, apparently that's worthy of an automatic 3-month ban, and that's why I was banned the first time. Since that ban was served out, I went back to the library and I just had this feeling lingering in the back of my mind that maybe there might be an additional ban just for looking at somebody the wrong way or plugging an Ethernet cable into an open port. Well, I didn't think that beforehand. Yeah, so on July 18, 2023, Alexander Gutelius was recorded in this audio recording. I want to have a recorded conversation. So it is currently Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Michael Cook speaking. I'm having a conversation with Alexandra Gutelius. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Close enough, yeah.
All right. So my name is Michael Cook. I have a company called Security News Plus. I've been coming here doing work in the library and stuff. At no point whatsoever is there any rules that say that I can't plug my network cable into the network. And you're banning me from the library for using that.
Yes, because you cannot tamper with our network.
Well, wasn't tampering with the network. I just had my Ethernet cable plugged into an open port. It's not tampering with the tampering with the network would mean I'm logging into like the switches or the routers or the computer terminals and then making changes to the computers. So like their definition of tampering with the network needs to be updated, right? If I don't know. I'm going to appeal this decision of yours.
Sure, you can absolutely appeal it.
Because I've been coming to this library longer than you've even been the director here.
Fair enough.
Right? So why don't I have a conversation with the IT specialist rather than you banning me?
Because he told me what the issue is, and I'm informing you of the result of you tampering with the network.
But again, tampering with the network was not tampering with the network. I'm just going to keep like bringing that up. There's another way around this situation rather than just openly banning me. There's no rule listed anywhere that says that I can't plug my network cable.
There absolutely is.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. Our computer use
Okay,
policies
provide me with the documentation that says that I can't plug into an open port with my wire.
Well, it doesn't specifically say that. It says you
Okay,
can't
well
tamper
then
with
if it
other
doesn't
computers.
specifically say that, you cannot ban me from the library with no prior
Michael?
authorization.
Yes, I
No,
can.
you can't.
Michael,
I can
I
appeal
can.
this decision, and I'm
You-
going to, because the
I'm
last time
100%
I gave you a document, I sent you a document about what was wrong with the computer that was in the computer lab, because I have more experience working with computers than this dude or anyone else in this building.
Well, anyway, that's our assistant director.
Okay, well,
That's
whether
fine.
he's the
Michael,
assistant
you
director or
are-
not, I'm going to appeal this decision because it's a public building,
Sure.
right? There's a panel of there's a panel of
There's
people.
a library board, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so I want to have a conversation with people in person with the library board.
You are welcome to come to the next library board meeting.
Well,
which
when
is
will that be?
August 21st.
Well,
at
you cannot ban me
7:15.
until after I speak with them. How's that?
No.
So I never made it to that library board meeting, and I didn't make it to the last one, and you know, I'm not entirely certain I'm going to make it to the next one, but we'll see.
That's not true. I can ban you right now, and you can appeal to the board.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so I'll post this on social media in addition to the video that I already posted of your staff committing intellectual property theft, right? And that is my best course of action, is to do that, because, you know, actions speak louder than words. You remember that? I sent you an email.
I saw the video. Yes.
Okay, so with the video, your staff member took my advice and installed SSDs into every single. No, you're using social pressure right now to try to not. You're trying to escape the situation.
That's fine.
No,
I
because
don't
you're
need
going to get in
this
trouble for
conversation
this.
with you. That you do what you feel you need to do.
No, you can't
and
ban
I'm
me from the
doing-
library
Yes,
for
I
no
can.
rule that's.
Yes,
There's
I
no
can.
rule that says that I can't plug my network cable in.
will get you a
Can I?
copy of the computer
Can I get my network cable back? Because I've.
Is your network cable there?
Yeah. And that's a pretty good indication of like how the guy who's the IT director, like telling her that I was tampering with the network, and supposedly they had like the evidence that they needed to prove that, but like they didn't know that my network cable was still plugged into the wall. Oh, I guess maybe like somebody missed something. Yeah, somebody missed something. Someone's trying to be sneaky, and you know, it's pretty stupid. Yeah, it's plugged into the wall.
Well, we will bring it to you. Just wait here.
Are you James Foster, you're the IT director?
I'm not the IT director.
Okay, can I speak with the IT director as well?
We'll have to talk to Alice when she comes back out.
Okay.
So, I mean, she'll
Is there a way that we can work this out? Because what you guys are doing is pretty ridiculous. I haven't been causing any problems or nothing. I've been coming here being an agreeable citizen, and there's no rule that says that it's not posted anywhere, or that says that I can't plug my cable into the network.
So when Alex comes back, she's our director, you really need to talk to her.
No, I understand. I just had a conversation with her. I just recorded it, and you're also using social pressure to sort of rely on her, like being bratty pants, basically.
That's fine.
Right.
What I'm saying is, she's the director. My name's Jim Foster. I'm the assistant director.
Okay.
But I'm just here to make sure everything's okay.
So you're the person that I also sent an email regarding the document that I sent Alexandra Gutelius back on October 1st or October 2nd, 2022.
I don't know if it came directly from you or if she had forwarded it to me, but I did see that.
I did copy the assistant director because I asked for a card from the people at the front desk again, right? And
they may have given you my card. That's very much possible.
So my question here is this: if there's no rule stated for me to not use the network connection in the building, why is it that people can use the open Wi-Fi? Why? Well, there's no rule listed anywhere that says that anyone can't plug their cable in.
Right. So Alex is going to get the computer policy.
But I mean, like, there should be a policy that you guys have memorized. That's your job.
Right, and that's why she said you can't do that.
Okay.
I can't quote.
But she should. It should be posted.
And he made a good point. I don't expect everybody to be able to do that, right? I'm sure he was trying to be slightly comedic by saying that,
Somewhere it says that I can't do that.
Okay, so she's going to bring that out for you.
Okay.
And then you'll have to continue the discussion with her. I do need to get back to the desk in case people need to have questions.
So what was the purpose of you coming out here?
Just to make sure everything was okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So do you have the?
No, I don't have the policy.
So you're not.
I will get you a copy of the policy. I forgot.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to the desk. She'll be back out.
Okay.
And continue talking with her.
Okay.
All right.
Still waiting for the director to come out with this paperwork that says that I'm not allowed to plug my network cable into the network. She probably doesn't even have a policy that says that. Can you read it off for me so that I don't have to read it?
No, I don't have my glasses with me, but there you go.
Well, I mean, like, I'm creating evidence right now.
Well, whatever.
Like,
attempting to alter,
hold on a second.
alter or damage
Pause for a
or
second.
network equipment.
Your attitude right now.
Attempting to alter or damage our network or equipment is banned. Her attitude is pretty telling that, like, she's not going to make any accommodations, or she's not going to even issue me a warning like, oh, well, dude, I don't know. It's just sort of like expediting the most severe thing they can do, right? That's what they're doing.
Well, where does it say that?
Right there.
Yeah, I'm not altering or damaging any of the. It doesn't say anything about me plugging a wire into the network. No, that's your interpretation. It does not specifically say that I can't.
This conversation.
You have to have this conversation with
I
me.
do not.
You're using social pressure right now to try to ban me from the library. I haven't done anything malicious to the network or anyone here.
Here you go.
No, listen, I'm going to have your job, lady. I'm serious. Like I want to read this. I want you to read this document right now while I'm recording this audio recording. No, you're smiling. You're laughing at me. No, I'm serious. I'm going to have your job, lady. Like, this is the second time that you've, like, violated your own policy in order to kick someone out of the library. This is a public place. You can't just kick people out. You can't just kick people out. No, you can't. You're being bratty pants right now. Have a conversation with me and I'll de-escalate the situation. There's nowhere on this paper that you've given me does it say that I can't plug my wire into the network. It doesn't say that. I wasn't physically altering anything. You put padlocks on all the computers to keep me out of the computer that was already open beforehand. Right? I did. Yeah, guess what, lady? The reason why I'm raising my voice right now is because I've been kicked out of my house and I can't go back there because my father was murdered when I was 10 years old and a bunch of people in the town of Clifton Park, they don't really care about my story. Okay, well, my circumstances involve the police being fucking stupid. The police are consistently stupid. They're doing the same shit that you're doing right now.
And so I'm going to interject right there. That's not always the case. Sometimes the police act a lot like Trooper Dixon, where they're like, they listen to what I have to say, or Trooper Rosano, or like there's plenty of cops that listen and stuff. But, in many cases, they have thrown the book at me when there wasn't even a book to throw at me. What I'm saying is, like, sometimes they have made shit up to get me in trouble. And, like, that's the whole point of me, like, making this, actually.
You're not even following any of your own policies. You're just kicking me out.
Can you step away from the entrance, please, so that people can come and go?
Well, no, because I want you to read this document right now. See? The First Amendment. Transmission of speech not protected by the First Amendment, such as libel and obscenity. Right? Okay, there we go. Now we can have a conversation.
I just didn't want you to stand right in front of the door.
Okay, look, I realize that I'm, like, making a scene right now. Right? A lot of people have heard me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be heard very loudly and clearly.
Yeah.
Right? I deserve an opportunity to come to this library just as anyone else does. I also deserve an opportunity to, like, have a discussion with you about the document that I sent back in October, where you called Saratoga County Sheriff by the name of James Clayton Brownell, who came here with another unit, which I recorded that audio. I recorded that conversation that I had with him, right? And the conversation that I had with him was that I used to manage the computer answers over on Route 9. No, listen. This is my opportunity to speak, because I'm going to say the same things in front of the board.
That's fine. You can do that. But
right?
But our conversation is done.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't, because, like, I'm still recording it, and you're just trying to leave the conversation that I'm having.
But
what have I done to damage the network here? What have I done to alter or damage computer or network equipment, software configurations, or files belonging to the library, other users, or external networks? External networks. It doesn't even say internal networks. So your own document that you just handed me doesn't even specify that I can't plug my wire in to get a network connection, because the Wi-Fi kept, like, blocking out. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but I could come in here and I could plug in my cable, because there's nothing that says that I can't do that.
There is.
No, there isn't. I'm looking right at the paper you just handed me, and it doesn't say that.
I'm not going to go into...
No, you have to, because this is something that I have to bring up to the board, right? And, like, if the police officers, they also do this stuff where they use social pressure in order to say this conversation's over, and they walk away before even looking at evidence, or if someone brings up evidence for a police officer, they're supposed to review it. But if they just, like, don't even bother looking at the evidence, and they put someone in a situation where, like, they have to, like, go around, like, making documents. That's what happened to me. That's why I'm here.
I understand you don't agree with my decision.
No, I don't agree with your decision, because, like, you're being a tyrant.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. It's your opinion.
Michael?
You're being a tyrant, and I didn't do anything to damage the network or the software configurations. I have not done anything. I have not violated this at all.
You are welcome to appeal my decision.
Yeah, I am going to appeal it, because I'm recording the conversation right now. Yeah, this is awesome. You know what? Hold on. Repeat that date for me, when the board is here. And I want the names of all the people on the board, too. I want their email addresses and their phone numbers. I want to have access to everybody that's supposed to be on that list. Because guess what? You know, if you might be kicking me out of the library right now, but I guarantee you that pretty soon, I'm going to wind up being the IT director here. And then, like, teaching the guys that work here how to keep malicious people out.
Can I answer your question?
Because I'm not even malicious.
Would you like me to answer your question?
Sure.
The names of the trustees are on our website.
Okay.
Board of Trustees. Their email is not, their personal emails are not there.
So how do I contact them in the meantime so that I can...
Contact me email that goes to the trustees directly.
Okay.
It's on our website.
So basically, like, what you're saying is that this is a public library, but you have control over what people say or do here, right? And you can take things out of interpretation. You can interpret things the way you want to, right? That's what you're saying with this whole conversation. You're acting like a tyrant.
I do not believe I am. But
okay, well, that's your opinion.
I've answered your questions. You're welcome to appeal. The library board meeting is August 21st at 7:15 in this room right here.
August 21st, at 7:15.
August 21st is a Monday, correct? Right? Yes. Correct. Yep.
Okay, so I have to wait an entire month to appeal this.
You do.
So that's ridiculous.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It doesn't seem that way.
Oh.
Have a nice day. I was just like, I'm mocking you. Yeah, it's a stupid look on your face. End recording.
And that's it for that. I did not specify that she was banning me for 3 months in the beginning of the recording, and neither did she. However, she did state 3 months prior to when I began making the audio recording. Then she changed her mind after I left and expanded that ban to a full 6 months just because she can. The second ban was resultant to me being frustrated with the wireless network dropping out rather often. Now this happens sometimes when I manage computer answers, and so I made a video back in August of 2017 that shows how to power cycle networking equipment like servers, routers, switches, cable modems, wireless access points fall into that category.
All right, go ahead and follow me. All right, so the internet here at this store all goes through this little box. You can see that it's working because you see the lights on this side and the lights on this side. All 4 of these little diodes are going off, and that's the input and the output. So if this is working and then this is working, you can see all the activity here. The internal network is working. So if you look at that, it's flashing. That means it needs to be unplugged like that. Wait a second. Because it has a static IP, you don't really have to wait 2 minutes. But residential, you have to wait like 2 minutes so that the IP lease can be released. So like at home, Time Warner allocates a random IP address in a certain range so that the clients and customers can get online. Well, with businesses it's different. They have a static IP all the time, so that's always going to be the same IP address. And I'll tell you what, if you want to come over here, if you look at these lights here. If you look at these lights here, sometimes they're in different spots on other modems, but it says power upstream, downstream, online. So I know for a fact that we may have to call Time Warner because this isn't lighting up. Yeah, we might have to call them. Oh wait, nope, it just came up. Hold on. Still going?
Yeah.
All right, take a look. So on these cable modems, it's different. Sometimes it'll be a separate light for upstream and downstream, but this one is integrated. So as it's power cycling, it takes about 2 minutes. This will turn on, and then eventually this will start blinking. Once this turns on, the next one will turn on, and then it will revert back to this one light, and it will flash until it's done. And then when this is done, it'll move on to the next one. So it goes all the way down. If this light says online, and this is lit up, and this is lit up as well, then you know that the problem is internal. And then that's when you would want to take a look at all the switches and everything inside. But this should be up in a sec. Once I manage to get, there we go. All right, so now the online light is flashing. We may be just about done. I don't know what that cable is. There's tons of cable back here. I don't really think we use it all. There we go. It's on. So let's go check the internet. Now at this point, if it's not online, then we know that it has to be the server there, or the PF sense box that needs to be reset. So internet on there. Internet not on here. So you can try doing a, are you still recording? Okay. You can try doing a CMD, IP config. All right, 192.168.1.115. What I'm going to do is hit IP config release. I'm going to do IP config renew. There we go. It's on. We are online. And that's how you do it, guys.
Now, I could have given the IT director some advice on how to occasionally power cycle the access point so that it would not drop the connection as often as it did, but that would probably be difficult for a guy that only shows up for 5 hours a week, who may occasionally show up for about 5 days to fix a printer issue. Yeah. I used to get paid to resolve simple printer issues in an hour or less for Intellinet and various other businesses, so taking 5 days to resolve a printer low on ink error was not an option. But we're talking about employees at a public library that is funded by taxpayers who pay for salaries, property tax, maintenance, landscapers, and First Light fiber optic internet service. Here is a readout of what their their internet service was at the time that I collected that information. But let's talk about how many months I was actually using the Ethernet port without being noticed. Between March of 2023 and July of 2023, I would come to the library rather often with either one or two of my laptops to do my work, as well as leisurely activities using the internet at the library on my devices. When going to plug the power adapters into the wall, I noticed the open Ethernet port. At no point whatsoever did anyone say you're not allowed to use that port for any reason. And even if it is in the rules or internet use policy, it seems rather draconian to ban someone for 6 months for using it, especially after having already stolen that person's intellectual property to upgrade the computers to solid-state hard drives all throughout the library. Allow me to explain my use of the Ethernet port. I would occasionally plug my laptop into that Ethernet port because the wired connection is much faster than the wireless connection. Since the taxpayers actually pay all of the bills at the library via a budget, like the one that they just passed like last week, the public should have access to the wired network since it is exponentially faster than the wireless one, even if the wired network they'd theoretically have access to needed separation from the library's internal computer network. That's what VLANs, MAC address filtering, and authorization of an ADDS DHCP server are for. It initially only worked whenever I had my smartphone plugged into my device using USB tethering, which means that I was still utilizing the DNS server on the wireless network. But after reviewing the connection details, I was able to determine the following network map after manually entering in the required information. Application development and network security. This is how to write C# code in PowerShell. Class host node. Index IP address host. Host node index UN32 index string IP address. This index equals variable index. This IP address equals variable IP address. Method resolve host name. Property this host equals system.net.dns : resolve this IP address. String to string return this IP address. That information right there is called a class, and it's a format in programming languages that allows multiple properties to be turned into an object. This is essentially object-oriented programming. Variable list equals 0 through 255. For each object, create a host node with the parameter null variable and 10.106.1.null variable. For each x in 0 through 255, console write line testing x test variable equals test connection dash computer name list x IP address dash count 1 dash time lib 100. If variable test is null, then list x resolve host name. And then at the tail end of all that, variable table equals variable list, where each object has a host property. Now with this information, I can execute this stuff if I'm connected to the network, and then the script will actually return what's known as a network map. A network map is a list of objects called hosts that are on a particular network. So if I was a nefarious douchebag looking to screw over other people at the library, then first off, I wouldn't answer questions people ask me like, can you help me with this? Secondly, collecting the network map would be a perfect way to do so. Fortunately, the terminals all have software restriction policies on them, and every user's data is eliminated at the tail end of each session when the computer logs the user out and reboots itself in order to restore the clean virtual machine state information that Deep Freeze utilizes. I make a lot of videos where I'm providing educational resources in a productive manner, and I have also provided assistance to other patrons at the library, as stated above, because many people would ask me questions as if I actually worked at the library. The truth is, I was spending more time at the library than any of the staff. That's right. I would go there, and I'd be there more often than any of the staff members. So, But it doesn't look like I'm going to get paid for any of that time, nor any of the work that I did. If anything, it looks like someone's going to expedite any reason to ban me from the library again, even more. Table.host. And right here is the network map. Everything that came back was a legitimate host. It may or may not have returned a host name, but you know, if you look at the table here, it says 10.106.1.0, then it says 10.106.1.1, and then it skips to 5, it goes to 6, 7, 8, 9, it skips 10 and 11, and it goes to 12, and then 13 is trinitor.cph.public, 14 is solaria.cph.public, 15 is deathstar.cph.public, and it skips, 18, it goes from 13 and 14, it skips 15, 16, 17, and it goes right to 18, and then it goes from 19 to 23, and then, you know, you got a whole bunch of Lab 05, Cat 04, Cat 05, Dat 04, Cat 09, right, and it goes all the way down, and you got like the printers at the tail end of all of that, publiccolor.cph.public and NPI 50A633.cph.public, you know. Anyway, I hope that it goes without saying that while I do know how to circumvent software restriction policies and software like defreeze, which is what the CPH library uses on its terminals that the public can use inside and outside of the computer lab, doesn't mean I'm going to teach people how to do that. So allow me to turn this into a lesson plan similar to what I did in the document that I sent to the director back in October 2022, where the IT director staff took my idea to install the solid-state drives into the computers at my suggestion in that document. You could use various tools like an Nmap to get a readout of all the devices on a particular network, but you could also use an available Ethernet port that should be terminated at the wall jack or patch panel in order to prevent someone with nefarious intent from being able to get this information. You could also write firewall entries on either the switch, the server, the gateway, or individual terminals so that everything is on the same network and the computers belonging to the library would be protected from any potential tomfoolery, yet still on the same network as any potential visitor plugging into the wired network. That is technically how they have it set up. However, the different networks. Having a policy such as attempting unauthorized entry to the library's computers or network or external networks is a policy that you would only need if you weren't really that skilled at networking or security engineering, because if someone who was skilled at it had the position, then they would have the necessary experience to write a bunch of firewall entries, like what can be seen in some of my videos, or even use a group policy to distribute security policies to every machine on the domain. And even if the most fierce veteran at network penetration testing came in and did their dirty work, Kerberos is a pretty strong network security encryption, which is what Active Directory Domain Services uses in addition to NTLM. That's actually a failure on the IT director's part, considering how hardened those security measures truly are. Now, this code up above is something that I cobbled together in about 10 minutes. And allow me to be perfectly clear. This allows someone to be able to connect directly to the printers over the network to initiate print jobs without having to pay for the pages being printed. All you would need to do is connect to the device by its name, since it was returned to the DNS entries up above. Then you could download the drivers and send print jobs to the directly to the printer. You can even do this from the wireless connection too, but I'm not going to elaborate on how to do that. These are security vulnerabilities that the IT director should have patched up, since it is supposedly his job to enforce this policy, or the policy. However, the IT director failed to adequately prevent someone from being able to ascertain this information, which means that if I wanted to take actions that were malicious, I certainly could have. Which means that what the IT director or any of the IT staff should have done was terminated the connection on the other end of the wall jack. So, like, typically the Ethernet ports, they go to a patch panel, and at the patch panel, you can disable one of the connections there. And then if someone plugs a wire into an open or available Ethernet port that's not supposed to have access to the internal network, then guess what? They won't have any access. There won't be a signal. Now that's what an IT director should have done, but didn't. So we have to question why that port is there available to begin with, or start asking some other questions rather than to just ban somebody from the library for 6 months. Trantor.cph.public and Solaria.cph.public. Those are the DNS servers that gave me this information with the system.net.dns class in the above class I wrote called host node. Trantor is a reference to Isaac Asimov. Solaria is a little more cryptic, so I'm not sure. But I sure as hell know what Death Star is. DeathStar.cph.public. The Death Star is featured in the series of movies Star Wars by George Lucas. Luke Skywalker blows up the first Death Star in Star Wars A New Hope, and then Lando Calrissian and Han Solo, they blow up another one in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I'm not entirely sure why a computer in the library's network go by these names, as they do nothing to indicate what type of computer they are, what they're doing, why they're potentially evil, or whatever. Internet usage. I use that port a number of times to upload videos to YouTube, especially when the videos I would upload were anywhere between 5 gigabytes and 40 gigabytes. Using the wireless network, it would take, like 6 hours to upload a 24 gigabyte file, whereas having it plugged in, it's uploaded within 10 minutes. Uploaded, like, let's compare 10 minutes to upload a 24 gigabyte file to 6 hours, right? So there's an incentive to want to use the wired network. So why the wired network isn't available to the people that go to the library is beyond me. A lot of the cubicles at the library had a port at some point that were either in the floor or like in the cubicles or whatever, but at some point someone came along and they were like, why don't we just allow everybody to use the wireless network? Then we don't have to worry about like maintaining wired connections. And that is something that either the IT director or the library director made they made a decision to do that, or if they didn't, then the previous people did. But the library gets a pretty large budget. I think that they can afford to allow people to plug their network cable into the ports that exist in the library, and that they should have the necessary staff on hand to allow them to do that. So, in fact, all these videos in this playlist I uploaded using the wired connection at the library, in addition to several others. Allow me to explain what sort of videos I upload to YouTube. First Amendment auditing.
AI would like to know which crime you guys are investigating.
Theft, and secondly, the simple village ordinance. Or fraud. You'll probably figure out a few other things. Impersonation.
Basically, he's reaching. That's what he's doing. He hasn't stolen anything from anybody. The police officer hasn't observed him like stealing anything from anybody. He's being very obvious about it, and I highly doubt that this dude who's making a video for YouTube is going to make the time to like find out who those people are, and then go in their house when they're sleeping and take their debit card and go extract the money that they have in their account. I can understand, like, if here's the thing, he's being very deliberate about it, right? So he's going to attract attention to himself and make it really obvious. Anyone that was going to be committing theft or fraud or whatever, they're not going to be obvious about it. They're going to be very quiet and very hidden and subdued about it, and they're not going to waste their time like watching the ATM. They're just going to like have a skimmer on like a place, right, at a gas station or something, and that happens. There are card skimmers on like gas stations or like even at like Walmart and a bunch of other places. These skimmers, they basically collect the numbers or the RFID codes from the credit card, when it goes to make the transaction and stuff, right? But like, this guy is ill-equipped to even investigate anything like that. None of these cops are equipped to investigate anything like that. Do I see an F? Do I see a B? Do I see an I there? No? All right, well then kick rocks, dude. You don't know what the hell you're doing. There's a lot of cops that like try to like, if something is in their jurisdiction and it's above their pay grade and someone's committing a crime, then they're interested in doing something about it. But, you know, if it requires work and it's too difficult for them to want to do, then they won't even bother like contacting the FBI. This has happened to me numerous times with the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office and the New York State Police. That's a video of me providing commentary to a First Amendment auditing video by a guy on YouTube named Tuapri, where I explain when and where police officers wave their dicks around aimlessly and assert their authority when they bully people around who are standing on public property. Not unlike being banned for 6 months for using an Ethernet port on a public library network by the director of the library. That's just an offshoot tangent to what I normally record and upload. I was actually using the wired connection to perform video editing, programming, graphical user interface design, journalism, research, development, and security engineering related activities dealing with virtualization. Here are some of those videos featuring virtualization. New VM controller, Windows 11, VM controller, GUI development part 2, VM controller, GUI development part 1, virtualization lab, RHEL deployment, Red Hat Enterprise Linux deployment, virtualization lab, TCP session, virtualization lab, desktop deployment, virtualization lab, desktop deployment, just another version of it. New VM controller, flight test version 2.0 part 1, virtualization lab, FEDC promo. Right, these are all videos that I made since I was banned from the library back in October 2022, and some of those videos I made while I was at the library. Again, state of affairs. Now let's talk about the latest video that I recorded on September 17, 2023, CPH library. Today is Sunday, September 17, 2023. It is currently 2:05-ish. I'm here with, what's your name?
My name is Kevin.
Kevin. What's your last name? Because I'm going to call the police.
Kevin. Okay, you can call the police.
Right, because I have the audio recording of her saying that I was banned for 3 months, right? And I also have an audio recording of, like, the last time she called the police on me when I was here in the computer lab and everything.
Okay. You want me to call the police for you and get them over here?
No, that's fine. I'm just going to go to the police station and then file a complaint against the director, and then you know, see what they can do.
Well, bring
you
this
know.
to them too.
So what does this say? That I'm trespassed from the property?
Open it up and.
But a police officer is supposed to be able to trespass somebody from a property, and it's public property.
Open it up and read it for yourself.
Well, I'll open it up and read it, but like, it's a public building and it's a public area.
Okay.
Right?
I can have the police come over and explain it all to you if you want, or I can have.
Yeah, I know, but it's a public property. So like, escorting me off of a public property. I don't know. Do you ever watch First Amendment auditor videos or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm on public property. This is owned by the town. If the director can eject me from the library, you can't escort somebody off of public property.
Yes, you can. So in the first audit videos, I've seen plenty of them. So once they can't escort them right away. But once they get trespassed for whatever it is they get.
Right, but this doesn't constitute as me being trespassed. This constitutes as me coming to a property that's a public property. The last conversation that I had with Alexandra Gutelius that I have in an audio recording. Maybe I should actually speak with the town council, because I told her that I was going to do that in the audio recording, right?
Feel free to. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
So, like, what is the grounds for me being trespassed for 6 months? It's in here, right?
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
But I mean, did she like tell you that?
You want me to see if she can come over and explain to you again?
Yes.
Okay. I'll see if she's available. If she's not.
If she's not, then I'd like to stay here until I'm finished doing what I'm doing, because it's public property.
So we're told.
I won't come back after today.
Okay, but that's not how it works. You can't.
It's public property.
You can't come for a day, and then if you're banned for 6 months.
But I'm banned from going inside the library
Okay, so
for a policy that was technically unenforceable.
Okay, so if she's not available, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. If you don't leave, we'll call the police. Okay.
Okay. So when the police come and they say that it's public property, I'm allowed to be here. What happens then?
If that's what they say, then you're
See,
allowed to be here. But
right. It's public property.
we'll see what they say. Okay.
Well, we'll see what they say.
Okay. You sure you open that up and read it, okay?
So let's read this. Let's make a deal about the 6-month ban from the library. Right? Okay, July 18th to January 18th, 2024. Okay. Yeah, and then they never gave me this. Within 5 days of the suspension. So, like, waiting to give me this envelope until the next time that I was here. Yeah, I didn't violate this policy. All I did was plug in my Ethernet cable from my laptop to the open port. You know, this stems from the last video that I made back in October of last year. Intellectual property theft. Sending Alexandra Gutelius the document, Cassie, right? And I talk about your visitor privileges are suspended because you attempted unauthorized entry to the library's computers or network in contravention of library policy 4.5, computer and internet use. And I do have that sheet, but there's nothing in it that says that I can't plug an Ethernet cable into an open port. And further to that point, if the director was competent at his job, he would have made sure that that port wasn't able to plug in, like the port wasn't available to plug in. So even if I did plug into it, I wouldn't be able to access anything in the library network, right? But that's okay, right? Changing it from 3 months to 6 months just because she can, and it's a public property. You know, it says here, this means you may not enter the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library facility from July 18, 2023 through January 18, 2024. But that's not what she said in the audio recording that I recorded on July 18, 2023. Nope, she said, I'm going to have to ban you for 3 months. So what's happening is there's flip-flopping going on here, right? To appeal the suspension, right? I can't come into the library to obtain this document, right? So I haven't been here for like the last couple of months. And like, what does it say? I have to appeal within 5 days. 5 days. So the patron may appeal the determination of the library director to the library board of trustees via a written notice of appeal within 10 days after the receipt. Okay, so the receipt of the library director's determination, which means that I have 10 days to do so after receiving this document. The notice of the appeal must be sent to both the library director and the library board president, care of Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library, 475 Moe Road, Clifton Park, New York, 12065. The library board of trustees will review the suspension at the next regularly scheduled meeting of the library board. The patron will be provided with notice of the meeting date. A parent or a guardian must accompany a minor under the age of 18 to the meeting. Library Board of Trustees will hear the appeal and will vote to uphold or dismiss the suspension. The patron will be notified by a letter of the decision of the Library Board of Trustees. The suspension will be in effect until this vote is taken. Need for this policy. Okay, so policy is needed to ensure appropriate use of public computer and internet resources. The mission of the library is to provide educational, informational, recreational resources to patrons of all ages, cultural and economic backgrounds. The library is committed to protecting intellectual freedom, promoting lifelong learning, and providing materials and resources that accomplish these objectives. As part of its mission to meet the needs of the community, the library provides computers which allow public access to a variety of electronic resources, including library library catalog, databases, software, and the internet. Policy: to promote an equitable access to computer and internet resources, the library utilizes software to manage computer reservations, time limits, and printing. This system requires patrons to enter a valid library card number or visitor's pass number to access a computer, which I have not even been accessing the computers. The Cloten Park Half Moon Library Tax District residents who wish to access library computers on a regular basis are requested to obtain a library card. Visitors may obtain a daily visitor's pass. In order to ensure the use of computer and internet resources is consistent with the mission of the library, computer stations will be located where they can be monitored for assistance and security. All prospective users of the library computer and internet resources must read and agree to abide by the computer and internet use policy. So they have to tell you this before you use their Wi-Fi. That's not written there, but is everyone going to read the internet policy before using the Wi-Fi at the library? I don't know. Library upholds and affirms the right of each individual to have access to constitutionally protected materials. Thus, adults and children 15 years of age and older are responsible for proper use of library computers and the internet. Persons under the age of 15 may have full access to the internet if they obtain written permission from a parent or legal guardian. The library may impose reasonable restrictions and conditions on the use of technology available to patrons. The library may charge for some services such as printing. The library reserves the right to change computer hardware or software offered to the public at any time. Library computer and internet resources may be used only for lawful purposes. Examples of unacceptable purposes include, but are not limited to, attempting to alter or damage computer or network equipment, software configurations, or files belonging to the library or other users or external networks. Okay. Attempting unauthorized entry to the library's computers or network or external networks. So, unauthorized entry would mean like me plugging in my Ethernet cable into an Ethernet port that's available. That's what that means. So what that means is if the port isn't even there, or if it's not even connected on the patch panel at the end of the Ethernet port, right? Basically, I have installed networks at buildings. I've installed RJ45 receptacles. I've ran Ethernet cables. I used to do this for computer answers professionally for businesses. I've gone to hotels. I've gone to warehouses. I've gone to businesses all over the place. I've also gone to residences, and I've also done work I wouldn't say that I ever worked for Spectrum or Time Warner Cable, but I did a lot of the work that they couldn't do at a residence's house, right? So, plugging in an Ethernet cable from a laptop to the wall is attempting unauthorized entry to the library's computers or network or external networks. So, basically what that says is someone's laziness can be construed as me attempting unauthorized entry to the library's computers or network or external networks. And then violation of copyright or communication laws, a violation of software license agreements, transmission of speech not protected by the First Amendment, such as libel and obscenity. The library strives to balance the rights of patrons to access different information resources with the rights of patrons and staff members to work in a public environment free from harassing sounds and visuals. Patrons are asked to remain sensitive to the fact that they are working in a public environment shared by people of all ages with a variety of information, interests, and needs. In order to ensure an efficient, productive computing environment, the library insists on the practice of cooperative computing. This includes respecting the privacy of others, not using computer accounts, access codes, or network identification codes assigned to others. Viewing material of a generally inappropriate or offensive nature, including sexually explicit materials, is not allowed. Any patron viewing content inappropriate for a public building will be asked to leave for the day. If the misuse continues, the patron will be banned from using the internet at the library. Responsibility is the responsibility of the director and her staff to enforce this policy. Initial adoption date 9/19/97. Okay, so whatever. So anyway, that's the document. It does contain the notice that I was given. So let's talk about this. I'm standing in front of the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library right now. I've lived in this town since 1987, and I went to Shenandoah Central School District for the entire 13 years of kindergarten through 12th grade, and I graduated. I've lived in town for a very long time. I worked at a lot of places here in town. I have a background in IT, as I've already discussed, and I've been coming here peacefully using the library, and I'm on a public property right now, and I'm outside the library, and in the letter that I just read, it says you may not enter the library. It doesn't say that I can't be on the property, and this is public property, so the taxpayers all own this property. And further to that point, on any public property, you have no expectation of privacy, which means you can't just kick somebody off of a property. You can tell them that they can't enter the library, and you can misconstrue your own rule, and simply put, like, this is discrimination or prejudice, right? I've been coming here for a while, haven't bothered anybody, and I wrote a document to Alexandra Gutelius back in October of last year, and I left it with her, and I was talking about Vault 7, the tools in Vault 7 that were developed by the Central Intelligence Agency and leaked by WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. So I've done my homework. I know a lot about these tools. I also know a lot about network security, and what I can say for certain is that these people just don't want me to be here. I don't want to say that everybody here doesn't want me to be here, but basically, if I send a letter to Alexandra Gutelius and I say that there's a bunch of computers in the computer lab that have hard drives that are going bad, you can upgrade them to a solid state drive, and it'll actually increase the speed of the computers and stuff. The computer's behind that window right there, and let's put it like this. Some people are going to see me recording this video, and they're going to be like, why is this guy outside recording a video? Why is he talking and stuff? Well, it's because I keep getting kicked around by people that think that, if I'm making somebody feel uncomfortable at the library, they'll try to follow the path of least resistance, and they'll try to eject me for some stupid fucking rule that I just specified, right? Plugging an Ethernet cable into an Ethernet port, or like, let's say last time, I did open the computer because the technician that works here, he opened the computer and he left it open. And he took my advice in the document that I wrote back in October of 2022. And the reason why Alexandra Gutelius came into the library is because my neighbor, Bill Moak, came to the library and said that I uploaded the video about intellectual property theft. So basically, intellectual property theft is when somebody reads a document and then they take an idea and they don't credit the person that came up with the document or the idea. And then, thick and thin of it is this. Suggesting that they should upgrade all the computers to solid state drives is the reason why I made the last video, intellectual property theft. And I'll have to link it, with this video here, and I'll have to, get the audio recording of Alexandra Gutelius saying that I was banned for 3 months and not 6 months, and then seeing the document that I just received. So I have 10 days to, at receiving the document today, today is September 17th, 2023, and, I just recorded, I think his name's Fred, and there's the document just kind of like going all over the place here, right? Yeah, I'm a resident of the town, paid a lot of taxes to the town,
over the years. I have a right to be here. And the people at the library, you know, if they're going to pick and choose like things to take out of the documents that I send to the director and then try to play it off like they didn't take my fucking idea, and then they're just going to kick me out of the library for plugging an Ethernet cable into the Ethernet port, which should have, any competent IT director at any place would have made damn certain that there wasn't a receptacle for me to plug my Ethernet cable into that was open. Or, you know, further to that point, at the end of the patch panel. You know, patch panels. I should probably talk about patch panels and how I used to punch cables into patch panels at Capital Region Career and Technical School when I went to Shenandoah High School in 2003, between 2001 and 2003, right? Here's what happens in our society. People will find any stupid fucking thing to kick somebody out of a public place or just, you know, have prejudice or discrimination, and then they'll downplay like taking an idea, like installing a bunch of solid-state drives into about 18 computers at the library. You know, the computers are behind the window right there, right? And, you know, it's going on like 20 minutes me making this recording. You know, video evidence is pretty powerful. I don't see the police here yet. You know, he said he was going to call the police and I'm trespassed from the property and everything. But, oh no, I know my rights. And I am going to appeal this now that I have read the thing here, right? And I'm also going to staple it with the last thing that I recorded back in October. And I should probably talk about Bill Moak really quickly. Bill Moak called CPS on me anonymously and claimed that I was molesting my daughter. This was about 3 days after he attempted to hit me with his baseball bat on my property in SESO 2020-003-564, right? That's a record for the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office where Deputy Mark Sheehan or Sergeant Mark Sheehan showed up, right? And my stepfather commandeered my 911 call because after Bill Moak tried to hit me with his baseball bat on my property, I called the police. I called 911, right? And after I called 911, my stepfather commandeered my 911 call. You know, during the 911 call, I said my neighbor just tried to hit me with his baseball bat on my property, right? And that's the guy that came here back in October and told Alexandra Gutelius that, you know, that I uploaded the video. And then she came into the library and kicked me out, right? And, you know, the me supposedly or allegedly molesting my daughter, that didn't hold any water and it was unfounded. And so were like most of the CPS cases that were called in. People just continue to call CPS and like say that I'm abusing my kids or whatever, but there's no actual proof of that. And then the family court, they decided to like expedite the OCFS, Office of Children and Family Services, like putting me into like a registry, the state central registry for abusing my kids, with no fucking proof whatsoever that I ever abused my fucking children. So that's why I like come to public places like this fucking library, right? I'm getting a little aggravated. I'm saying the F word. I'm saying it quite often because I've noticed that a lot of people are fucking stupid and they're not listening to a goddamn word that I'm saying. So that's why I make these fucking videos. You know? You know, people want to just like say, hey, kick you out of the library for 3 months, right? And then the next day they'll change it to 6 months, even though she's already caught in an audio recording saying it for 3 months. So at this point, if I continue to like be loud about what I'm doing here, right? Making a video of me being at the library on public property. Already have in the video this guy named Fred saying that I have to be escorted off the property, but it's a public property. All the taxpayers have equal ownership over the public property, and even the letter says that I may not enter the library. So, you know, and I also have like this guy Fred saying, well, I don't want anyone that works here to see you and then me get in trouble, but he's not going to get in trouble. No, if anything, like he's done his job, and Alexandra Gutelius is sort of on the hot seat right now, right? I sort of let it slide. You know, I told her in the audio recording, I'm going to have your job. I'm going to have the IT director's job. You know, I might have been a little hot-headed with those remarks in the audio recording I recorded on July 18, 2023. And, you know, I also stated in that audio recording about, like, the document that I sent here back in October of 2023.
So what's happening is basically like I have all of the experience to be the IT director here. I also like write a lot, and I spend a lot of time researching and developing things. That's what I put into the document. Cassie was my research and development, right? And I also have like a former employer over at Computer Answers that can kind of like I don't know what the full scope and severity of like how much shit this dude has said about me in particular. But I know that if Bill Moak, my neighbor, comes here, right? If I say that the dude tried to hit me with his fucking baseball bat on June 13th, 2020, in front of my kids and my stepfather and Janet Moak, his wife, and I call the police and I say that he tried to hit me with a baseball bat. What'll happen is that like 5 people will tell the police officer like the same bullshit story, right? But here's the thing: a guy that grabs a baseball bat out of fear, he's going to be the first one to call 911. It's not going to be some dude that's just going on to some neighbor's lot to harass him on his own property that doesn't call 911 first. That's why I say that some of the cops are fucking stupid, right? And some people are fucking stupid too. I don't want to say that this security guard here is fucking stupid, but he did say a bunch of things, making assumptions that like I'm going to be escorted off of a public property, right? This is what happens everywhere I go. People just discriminate against me, and they're like, if everybody's saying something, then it's got to be correct. No, it's not. That's why I make recordings. It's why I make videos. It's why I make documents. Because a lot of people, they're fucking stupid and they make assumptions all the time, right? And I'm not gonna say that all the staff here that they're bad people. I've been coming here for months and being a very agreeable person. Albie, the maintenance guy, he's like, hey, no, you're cool, man. No, you're chill, right? As long as I'm not playing with the computers or whatever, which I wasn't. Every day that I came here, I brought either my one laptop or both of my laptops, and I would use the internet, the wireless internet. But sometimes the Wi-Fi would cut out, and that's why I thought, hey, why don't I try plugging in the Ethernet cable? Since there's a port right below. It's not like I was just going around looking for like a port to plug in my Ethernet cable into. It's not like I was going around using hacking tools and using a way to override the deep freeze protection that they have on the computers here. Yeah, they use deep freeze. I'll tell you what deep freeze is in case the IT director wants some information on how to be an expert at his job. Deep freeze can be overridden by some of the techniques that I'm aware of as a security engineer to bypass software restriction policies. Have I ever done that? No, I haven't. I could do that, but I'm not gonna do that. I probably have more certifications than this dude who's the director here too, right? I gave him my resume last year, right? I also have a video of me experiencing a cyber attack on my laptop, and you can see the Clifton Park Half Moon Library logo in the background of the video. My laptop, I was running Kali Linux and editing a document, right? Editing a document that I wrote. And in this document, or at least on Kali Linux, every time I would access this document that I uploaded to Google Drive and OneDrive, and I couldn't even open it on Google Drive or OneDrive because there was a beacon. So one of the CIA tools that's in Vault 7 is Scribbles. And what Scribbles does is it deposits a beacon into a document, so anytime that it's opened up, it alerts someone somewhere as to someone's viewing or reading that document. And I don't know if that's the actual exploit that was being used, but I have various videos of other cyber attacks and exploits too. And what you'll notice here is that the police haven't showed up. It's been about, I said that it was 2:05 in the beginning of the recording. Right? Police aren't here. They're not going to come. The reason they're not going to come is because I'm on a public property, right? And if they do come, then I'll record that too. I have every right to be here, and I have every right to file an appeal against the library director and, go to the board, right? And then they'll be able to determine whether or not they should, enforce a suspension or a ban from a public library that I've paid taxes to build, and I paid my fair share of taxes. That's not a ridiculous statement. I've lived in town since 1987. My father was murdered when I was 10 years old when I was attending Scannell Elementary, right? So I have history here in the town. And these people here at the library, they're going to try to kick me out of the fucking library? Yeah. Well, excuse my language in this particular video. I realize that not everybody's going to appreciate my use of foul language, but if I try to be formal about my frustrations with not only the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office, not only the New York State Police, not only my neighbor Bill Moak, not only Alexander Gutelius, not only the guys at Computer Answers, not only the Golub Corporation, or even Stewart's. Bill Moak went to the Stewart's at 1736 Route 9 and wrote a complaint about me harassing him. But I have a video of him attempting to run me, making it appear as if he was going to run me over right across the street from the post office on July 4th. And then I went and I told Samuel Spezial and some other officer from the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office, and then apparently they went and talked with him, and then I saw Bill Moak at the Stewart's, right? I was at Stewart's at 1736 Route 9, Clifton Park, New York, and then I left, and Bill Moak followed me, and then he did this fake out right across the street from the post office. Right, so there's a lot of details in this particular video that don't pertain to this particular library or this particular situation. I'm sort of talking about my backstory, talking about a number of things that I've had to experience or deal with over the last few years. I'm not even going to get into someone using Phantom or Pegasus on my smartphone, my Apple 8 iPhone, my Apple iPhone 8 Plus, right? I probably sound like a little excited. I'm talking about a lot of details. I do this a lot. What I'm doing right now is oration. So oration is a manner of public speaking. I could walk up to a group of people and talk in the same exact manner as I am right now, and I can, educate them about a number of details. But oftentimes what happens is I'll get frustrated by some things, like people acting like idiots at a library, or people that wear police officer uniforms and drive around in cruisers just sort of ignoring evidence and leads and clues, and a whole bunch of other people making assumptions, right? That's what happens. A lot of people make assumptions, and I think that's going to do it for this video, because it's been like a half hour and nobody's here. So in this video, I specify other videos and audio recordings I have made because, like I said earlier in the document, people make a lot of assumptions, and they can be proven to be incorrect lying douchebags by making recordings and comparing records and things of that nature. Here's two videos about William Moak, the guy who showed up at the library on October 15, 2022 to tell the director about the video that I had uploaded named Intellectual Property Theft. Bill Moak harassment number 1, Bill Moak harassment number 2. Bill Moak. Hi. Bill Moak, one of the most miserable fucks that ever lived. Like the cook. Bill Moak. See what he wants to do. See what he wants to do. Here you go, run me over? Run me over? Yeah, fucking idiot. Fuck you. In video number 1, William Moak showed up to prove how stupid and gay he is. He doesn't realize I don't care. In video number 2, William Moak
did basically the same thing, because after I had left the Stewarts at 1736 US 9, Clifton Park, New York 12065, William Moak decided to follow me after I left the store, and then tried to like make it seem as if he like was going to run me over. When he passed me, I decided to whip out my smartphone and record this dude, because I could sense that he felt like proving how stupid and gay he is again. I don't have anything against stupid or gay people. He just has to keep reminding me, and it's annoying. And like magic, that's exactly what this moron decided to go right ahead and do on video. He's done it before. He will do it again. I'm goddamn certain of it. It can be seen that he was looking right at me while driving his Jeep Patriot and made it appear as if he had the balls to run me over with his vehicle. I did mention this to the staff at Stewart's, but a manager by the name of John doesn't really give a shit about these videos. I remain uncertain as to whether or not Bill Dake will give a shit, considering I've been doing business at his stores for a long time, as well as having worked for the Hearst Corporation, delivering and collecting newspapers to and from his stores all throughout the greater Capital District. I showed video number 2 to Samuel Spezial from the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office on July 4th, 2023, and I wanted to file charges or press charges against Bill Moak, because the man has done numerous criminal things to me, including having his kids, James and Harley Moak, assault me numerous times, attempting to assault me with an aluminum baseball bat on my property on June 13th, 2020. Contacting CPS anonymously 3 days afterward to report that I sexually molested my daughter, which was unfounded, stealing my equipment from my house, harassing me on Facebook, harassing me at the library, harassing me at Stewart's and along Route 9. William Moak decided to steal all of my equipment from my father's house. My Dell PowerEdge R410 Blade server, my Dell Power Connect 24-port gigabit managed Ethernet switch, my Dell Optiplex 780, my 2x 17-inch Dell LCD monitors with VGA and DVI connectors, and my dual-purpose USB 3.0 hard disk drive, external clone drive bay, my 2TB Western Digital hard drive, purple label surveillance drive, my 27-inch AOC 1080p monitor, my son's Nintendo Switch. Why? Because the man is fucking stupid, that's why. So is my mother, Fabienne Stovey Kivlin Cook, who committed perjury on June 28, 2022, when she wrote a statement to New York State Police Sarah DeRusso about how I had her in a headlock because she was assaulting me during an altercation that I recorded in audio, and informed the fucking New York State Police about being on my Google Drive account prior to them making an unlawful arrest that day where I was tased. Yeah, that's why I say that many police officers are pretty stupid. I told the court-appointed public defender Michael DePresso about this audio recording, as well as this dipshit judge Joseph Federa, numerous times at the many court appearances after the unlawful arrest was made. I also told 2 dipshit psychiatrists that Joseph Federa sent me to at Saratoga County Mental Health on February 23, 2023, Dr. Glossman and Dr. Gerbic, about the audio recording. They, too, didn't give a shit. The police are supposed to corroborate both sides of a story, especially when there's an audio recording that would serve to contradict the statement that a person committing perjury would have made. I told the same investigator in the audio recording listed in the beginning of this document, Investigator Jeffrey Brown, in another audio recording I made of him on February 17, 2023, at the Saratoga County Head Sheriff's Office, that my mother lied to the police about what occurred on June 28, 2022, and they've done absolutely nothing about it. That's why I record stuff. I don't trust what people say, as actions speak louder than words. Today is Friday, February 17, 2023. Michael Cook speaking. I'm currently at 6012 County Farm Road. I just asked the civil office to get somebody from the administrative office to talk to. We'll see how this goes. Okay, thank you.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Jeff Brown, the captain here at the Sheriff's Office.
You're Captain Jeff Brown?
Yeah, that's me.
So you're the guy that I spoke to?
Maybe. What's your name?
Michael Cook.
Oh, I don't know. When would that have been?
You have an older guy named Captain Jeff Brown?
Tim Brown used to work. He was an investigator.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Okay.
Well, not a long time ago. A couple years ago.
Yeah. So he's the guy I spoke to on February 2nd, 2021, I believe.
That could be. Yep.
Is he related to you?
A cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
like a third cousin. So.
I wanted to drop this document off,
okay.
mainly because I have been having an issue with getting in touch with Mr. Zerlo regarding a number of incidents dating back to 2020.
Who would you like me to deliver this to?
Mr. Zerlo.
Okay.
Now, before I let you go here,
yeah.
All of those links go to a project that I've been working on, and I started a company to focus on digital security back in 2018.
Okay.
And I realized that you guys don't have like a cybercrime division. I've spoken with multiple deputies over the last couple of years.
Sure.
I've had a number of incidents with some of your deputies.
Okay.
And I've also would like to get information regarding an incident that occurred on June 28, 2022.
Okay, is that on here?
It is not on there.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to write it down.
Yeah. You grab a pen here. Can I borrow a pen?
Cap, there's one right here.
Got one. One over here. Thank you. Give me that date again. June.
Yeah, it's you can write it this way. 6/28, 2022.
And Michael, can I get a phone number for you?
Yep, 518.
Yep.
406 8569.
Okay.
I don't have. Look, there was an incident on that date between me and my mother, and unbeknownst to me, my cell phone actually recorded the entire conversation that she and I had that entire morning.
Oh, good.
And I told the state police about that, and that is when they arrested me.
That wasn't very nice.
No.
What did they charge you with?
Basically resisting arrest, obstruction of like breathing apparatus or whatever. Basically, the statement I have a document that's on there regarding a statement that I wanted to put together. It includes backstory, and that's why I made the document. I've been having communication issues with many people in the department, not all of them.
Okay.
I want to make that very clear that like it's a very like individual basis.
Usually is.
Without giving you, I don't want to overload you with information.
Yeah,
other than what I've given you right there.
I appreciate that. I see there's a lot of links on here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I'm an orator. Basically, I make audio recordings. I talk. I'm like a professor, right? So my mother and I had an altercation on June 28, 2022. The altercation had something to do with me suspecting that she had ulterior motives for not wanting to talk about my father's murder in 1995.
All right.
So my father was murdered in Albany, New York on October 23rd, 1995. And I also, I performed I wouldn't call it an investigation prior to like me starting the company, but after I started my company, I noticed that I think that there's more to the story behind my father's murder, as well as another cab driver that was also murdered at or about that time. Francine Vero was a witness in the trial for the second cab driver that was killed, and I think that there is a group of people that were responsible for both of those events, and that they tried to kill me on May 26, 2020.
Okay. When you and your mom had your incident there where you got arrested by troopers, what was the location of that? What was the address of that?
201D Half Moon Circle. So,
where'd you grow up, Michael?
What's that?
Where'd you grow up?
At that address.
Okay. Did you go to Shen?
Yes.
What year?
2003.
Okay. All right, here's what I'm going to do.
So to give you some more information about what happened at the arrest, at the time of the arrest, there was a woman deputy that came in. She was a sheriff, and I tried to like talk with her. And, like,
is it this lady right here?
No.
Okay.
Nope. She's fine.
Okay.
She was like Pretty girl. I think she was a blonde-haired girl.
What year? This was 2000.
This was last year.
Okay. All right.
But basically, she showed up, and unbeknownst to me, my mother had already made a statement to Sarah DeRusso, the state police, right? And unbeknownst to them, they never corroborated my side of the story. And as soon as I told them that I had an audio recording that I uploaded prior to her making the 911 call, I went through and I transcribed the audio recording. I tried to use like my public defender, and like the court is doing a really fine, swell job of like kind of like pretending it doesn't exist. And that, like, I'm guilty.
So is that case still open?
Yes.
Okay. And you have this audio recording?
Yes.
Okay.
So like on that list right there, let me indicate which one to you. Statement right there. So on that one right there, that has the links to it. I have there's 3 different versions of the sound file. The original one, it was very hard to hear, and it's a 16-hour recording. I edited it because basically when I say that I'm an orator, I walk around and I record myself.
How do I spell that order? How do I spell that word?
O-R-A-T. Basically, it's on the front. Orator. Oration. Last bracket right there. X for oration.
See that? Okay.
Orator. So orator is basically someone who's a professor. Well, maybe not necessarily a professor, but somebody that speaks out loud or like practices public speaking.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm coming across as sounding professional or whatever, but it's because
yeah.
So it's because I talk a lot.
Yeah.
So I practice this. I know I listen to myself speak. I listen to my recordings. I try to like talk about things that are bothering me, things in the past. I make a very big effort to like be considerate to like not cross the red lines or the red flag area. But yeah, I basically talk about everything that I think of.
Oh, probably a lot of money to be made doing that.
Yeah, if I can get myself out of the situation.
Yeah.
So like ever since I don't want to overload you. There's a lot of information on there.
Yeah, let me take this right now. And you want this delivered to Sheriff's Orlo?
It would be nice. I mean, to be perfectly clear, I think that he has been paying attention to me on either Facebook or through the community, and he's had his son, Paul Zerlo, come to my house like multiple times. And rather than for me to make that speculation or assumption, I wrote a bunch of documents. I haven't had a conversation with him yet. If I have a conversation with him and I like what I hear and I believe him, then those documents, they're gonna be rewritten.
Okay. Fair enough.
So,
thank you.
In some of the documents that I've written, I have an audio recording of me speaking with the Captain Tim Brown.
Okay.
So he gave me a record that I needed. You know what? I'll wait until you digest some of this information.
Yeah.
And if you have like follow-up questions, feel free to call me.
All right. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Be safe, all right?
You as well. Take care.
If the actions that somebody takes contradict their words, then the words are fucking meaningless. As for my mother, her greatest feat in life was filing for bankruptcy and dropping out of college. Her greatest achievement when it comes to me is undermining her own son thousands of times and writing off my accomplishments, such as my college degree, my certifications from Microsoft and CompTIA, being the manager at Computer Answers for over 3 years, setting the highest sales record at the fucking place, in addition to the numerous videos I recorded of cyber attacks being waged against my equipment.
That's how hacked my Spectrum modem is. There's nothing plugged into it. There is nothing plugged into that fucking thing right now. I did just remove this cable. Let me go ahead and plug it into another port. Alright, so now, bam! Okay, well, whatever. That's no big deal. That's not okay. What that means is that it's trying to flood whatever the hell was plugged into that with traffic. That's all that it means. you can try to like say, oh, well, you must not know what you're talking about, Michael Cook. You must not have never studied the Cisco Certified Network Academy curriculum like you did back in 2001 for 2 years under David Patzarian at the Capital Region Career and Technical School. And then also the following year, Microsoft Systems Administration or CompTIA A Plus and Network Plus studies. No, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So that light right there is just flashing because, oh, that happens sometimes. The fact that it is still going 3 minutes after, it's a lot longer than 3 minutes after I've unplugged it, but what that means right there is somebody is fucking stupid and must think that I'm fucking stupid. Oh yeah, no, it's just a blinking light on a cable modem. There's nothing wrong with that. You can try to tell me otherwise, but, you know, I do happen to have freedom of speech, and I can tell you that that blinking light means that anyone saying that that's normal is fucking stupid. Yeah, now I'm going to record a video of it. When I'm editing this document, the editor keeps freezing. See how the cursor is right here? Oh, now it moved again. Oh, it's because there's a hacker doing that. I've been trying to edit this document all morning. I can open it, but once I start moving stuff around, it freezes up. And I think it's because of Chapter 8. Yeah, somebody does not like what's in Chapter 8. And that's why when I paste it, Chapter 8, into this document, I'll rebuild all the chapters because they're separate chapters. But as soon as I get to Chapter 8, or the end of 7, where I talk about Kristen Johnson, so I'm literally trying to scroll up and down right now. I can go to other windows. See, this is updating. So I can do stuff. But it keeps crashing the word editor. Yeah. Whoops, I forgot. She used to be extremely skilled at jigsaw puzzles, playing Yahtzee and horseshoes, and she is still extremely skilled at playing Poppet on Pogo.com. Occasionally, she might play Free Cell. Stupid rules. At the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library, we are about as serious as they come. We do not tolerate tomfoolery of any kind, sort, type, mode, or otherwise, and as such, we have a zero tolerance policy for it. Thus, here are some stupid rules that you have to abide by if you want to experience time at our library. You do not necessarily have to be a resident of the town of Clifton Park or Half Moon in order to come into the library and do stuff, but even if you are a resident of Clifton Park or Half Moon, have been a resident for many years, have paid your taxes, or have contributed funding to the existence of this library or its content or equipment, you absolutely must abide by our policy of stupid rules written below. Things you're not allowed to do at the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library. Think that any of these rules are stupid.
Being friendly, courteous, or respectful to people on a daily basis, or at all. Saying good morning or have a good night to the staff members or other people. Smiling, giggling, laughing, coughing, sneezing, or passing gas. Doing constructive things at the library. Using the restroom or elevators more than 2 times per day. Getting water from the water fountain more than 3 times per day. Being at the library so often that the staff members ask why you're here so much or there so much. Eating food, snacks, or drinking beverages of any kind, even if we have a vending machine. And if you do purchase stuff from the vending machine, then you'll have to go outside or climb into a den and consume that product there. Making eye contact or using any body language that acknowledges someone's existence. Joking around of any kind or sort. Sitting in a chair in or minding your own goddamn business. Complimenting people if they look nice or their hair, clothes, or whatever are delightful. Crying, frowning, or pouting for over 5 seconds. Less than 5 seconds is fine. Over 5 seconds, nah, not allowed. Being annoying or looking offensive. Having a fully grown beard or any other type of visible body hair falls under looking offensive. Trying to charm your way out of any trouble you may have found yourself in. Plugging in USB thumb drives to access your own files on our terminals or yours. Plugging in your own network cable into an open Ethernet port that just so happened to be unused. Using the printer when it is low on ink or at all. Providing other library visitors helpful advice such as how to log into their email account, how to access their online banking. Providing educational resources for staff members in the IT department. Providing any general all-around helpful citizenry. Offering cool ideas such as having a virtual machine system that doesn't haphazardly delete a user's files during any session because that would require a creative solution to pull off, even if that would make our library or visitors save resources like time, energy, hardware, or money. Using any library resources to sponsor hate crimes or speech. This isn't sarcastic here. Some of it is serious. Calling police officers careless idiots. That's not sarcastic. Espionage. That is sarcastic. Hacking. Even if it's ethical hacking, buddy. You're just going to have to figure it out whether I'm being sarcastic or not with some of these. Terrorism. State-sponsored or non-state-sponsored cybercrime. Identity theft. Journalism about Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, climate change, or other annoying stuff. Other general all-around tomfoolery. Recording educational videos of any kind in relation to application development, website development, graphic design, virtualization, network engineering, programming, security engineering, Active Directory, domain services administration, security certificate distribution, group policy implementation, Kerberos ticketing system, anything like that, even if you're a Microsoft or CompTIA certified expert. Printing off copies of your resume and leaving them with the IT director or whoever. Breathing above the maximum socially accepted rate. Talking about your life story or whatever. Being or looking annoying. Looking at anybody the wrong way. Getting upset when the director decides to ban you for 3 months for doing nothing that altered or damaged any computer or networking equipment that the public paid for in a public building that the residents of the town have funded. That may include the recipient of a draconian 3-month ban. Addressing any staff member by their first name, last name, full name, or nickname. Making up a silly nickname for anybody at the library, even if it's a friend. Questioning whether some of these rules contradict one another. Thinking about how dumb any of these rules are, even if that was already stated. Stupid rules. Conclusion. If you do any of these things while at the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library, you will be banned anywhere from 7 days to 90 years. 7 days if you're lucky enough to be an innocent looking individual, but 90 years if you're just the worst person that ever lived. There's no in between. If you have somehow found yourself somewhere in between, that is ban worthy. If you think that 90 years is equivalent to a permanent ban, that is just your opinion. 90 years goes by pretty quickly, so you really have no room to complain. If you do not abide by all of these rules, you will be immediately banned for simply existing. If you think any of these rules are stupid, ridiculous, draconian, that is also ban-worthy. Don't play games with us, and we won't play games with you. That's all there is to it. There's nothing dumb about any of these stupid rules. Even if you don't come to the library, or you have no intention of coming here, or have simply never even heard of our library, and you think any of these rules are stupid, we have telepathic powers, as well as access to the all-seeing eye, and we will find out. Then you will be banished for anywhere between 7 days to 90 years. This conversation is over. Bye.